The story of the Nephilim, the mysterious giants mentioned in the Bible, has long intrigued readers and scholars alike. These giants are described in Genesis as the offspring of the sons of God and human women. Genesis 6 verse 4. Existing in the world during a time when humanity had fallen into widespread corruption. This corruption was so severe that God decided to send a flood to cleanse the earth. However, mentions of giants reappearing after the flood in various biblical passages raise an intriguing question. How did the Nephilim, or their descendants, survive when the flood was meant to destroy all life? Origins of the Nephilim, the giants before the flood. According to Genesis 6 verse 4, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. The phrase, sons of God, has been interpreted by some as referring to fallen angels who intermingled with human women. This union is believed to have produced a race of giant, powerful beings, the Nephilim. The existence of these beings, along with humanity's moral decay, prompted God to send the flood to cleanse the earth of corruption. Did the flood destroy all giants? The flood was designed to wipe out all living beings, except for Noah, his family, and the animals on the ark. Genesis 7 verses 21 to 23 states, "All flesh died that moved upon the earth. Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark." This passage suggests a complete cleansing, leaving no room for survival outside the ark. Therefore, any theory involving the survival of giants must reconcile this biblical account, as the text clearly emphasizes that only those with Noah survived. Theories on the reappearance of giants. After the flood, giants appear again in the Bible, particularly in the land of Canaan. Numbers 13:33 describes the Israelite spies' encounter with giants, stating, "And there we saw the giants, the sons of Enoch, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers." This puzzling mention has led to several theories on how Nephilim traits may have re-emerged. The theory of hidden giants on the ark. One early theory suggests that perhaps a giant or Nephilim somehow stowed away on Noah's ark. However, this idea is contradicted by the clear language of Genesis, which states that only Noah's family and the animals on the ark survived the flood. Therefore, this theory holds little credibility within a biblical framework. Recreation of Nephilim by fallen angels. Another theory posits that fallen angels might have reappeared after the flood to recreate the Nephilim. However, ancient texts, like the Book of Enoch, suggest otherwise. The Book of Enoch, though not a part of the Bible, provides historical insight, stating that the fallen angels received harsh punishment from God for their actions, which was intended as a warning to deter any other angels from repeating their mistake. Enoch 21 verse 7 to 10 describes the severity of their punishment, suggesting that no other angel would risk such wrath. Genetic theory, the Nephilim lineage through Ham. The most plausible explanation from a biblical standpoint is a genetic one. According to Genesis 9 verses 18 to 19, all humans after the flood descended from Noah's family, specifically his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth and their wives. Some scholars theorize that the genetic potential for gigantism or Nephilim-like characteristics might have been passed through Noah's descendants, especially through Ham's lineage, and re-emerged in later generations. If one of Noah's sons or his sons' wives carried a recessive gene for gigantism, it could explain the reappearance of giants after the flood. This concept is similar to how recessive traits, such as certain eye colors, can be passed down quietly through generations until they manifest later. The Bible itself does not directly state that giants were descended from Ham or Canaan, but there are clues pointing toward this theory. The giants of Canaan, evidence of Nephilim traits in Ham's descendants. The reappearance of giants in Canaan, the land associated with Ham's descendants, strengthens the genetic theory. In Numbers 13:33, the Israelites encountered giants in Canaan. specifically the sons of Anak. The Anakim, as they were called, were known for their massive size and strength. Deuteronomy 2 verses 10 to 11 also refers to the Emim, a group described as a people great and many and tall as the Anakim. These giants in Canaan indicate that Ham's descendants may have carried the genetic markers that led to gigantism. The link between the giants and Israel's enemies. Another famous giant in the Bible, Goliath, was from the Philistine city of Gath. The Philistines are also connected to Ham's lineage, Genesis 10 verse 14. This connection between Ham's descendants and giants provides a plausible genetic line that could explain the reappearance of these formidable figures. Why giants were considered a threat to Israel. The Bible not only describes these giants as physically imposing, but also links them with moral corruption and idolatry. God specifically commanded the Israelites to eliminate the Canaanites, warning them against adopting the Canaanites' practices. In Deuteronomy 7 verses 1 to 2, God instructed the Israelites, "When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land, and hath cast out many nations before thee, thou shalt smite them, and utterly destroy them, nor show mercy unto them." This command reflects the danger that Canaanite practices pose to Israel's spiritual purity, as these practices often involved idol worship, ritual impurity, and moral corruption. Preserving traits through close marriages. Another aspect to consider is the prevalence of close relative marriages in biblical times, which could have concentrated certain genetic traits within particular family lines. The Bible records several instances of close relative marriages, such as Abraham marrying his half-sister Sarah, Genesis 20 verse 12. If Ham's descendants continued this practice, it would have allowed traits like gigantism to remain within certain lineages, eventually leading to giants such as Goliath. God's judgment on the Canaanite giants. As the Israelites prepared to enter Canaan, God provided specific instructions to prevent them from being influenced by Canaanite practices. Deuteronomy 20 verses 16 to 18 is clear about God's command to destroy the Canaanite nations, including their giants. But of the cities of these people, which the Lord thy God doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth, that they teach you not to do after all their abominations, which they have done unto their gods. God's directive aimed to prevent Israel from becoming morally corrupted by the idolatrous practices associated with the Canaanites, including the giants who descended from the Nephilim. Nephilim as a symbol of the battle between good and evil. The Nephilim and their descendants serve as a potent symbol of the ongoing struggle between righteousness and corruption. They represent both physical and moral opposition to God's chosen people. Their presence in the Bible may reflect the continuous human struggle with influences that lead them away from God. This story of the Nephilim's reappearance after the flood is a reminder of the enduring battle between good and evil, a central theme in the Bible's message and vision for humanity. By exploring this mystery, we see how the Bible weaves together history, faith, and the struggle to uphold moral integrity, offering timeless lessons on humanity's relationship with God.